Welcome to Bio Bootcamp. This is episode 6. Happy Monday to everybody that's watching right now. And I'm going to ask a question. Did you know that your cells were designed to heal? Let's get into it. All right. Now, if you've been watching last week, we have Stuart Tomc, and he's the professional when it comes to omega-3s. He's the biggest dude in the industry. We're blessed to have him on the show. And today we're going to talk about that the structure of your cells are literally designed to heal, which heals your body. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring Stuart Tomc to the stage. Stuart, how are you today, sir?
Hello, Nolen. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Absolutely excited. And I just can't wait to get into today's episode because healing is always a big thing, right? Especially as we get older, we start to heal slower, right? And if we knew that our bodies were designed to heal and we had everything that we needed to put those cells in the position to do what it was designed to do, I think that's awesome and amazing. So I'm excited for today, man.
No, me too, Nolen. And I just appreciate you so much that you created this environment for us to get excited, but to go deep at the same time and also not to say stupid stuff. That's one of the things I love and appreciate about you so much. What do I mean by that? Natural products are not designed to treat, cure, mitigate, ameliorate diseases or disease symptoms. They're designed.
When you say natural products, what do you mean by that?
Dietary supplements.
Okay.
I mean, so many people are out there spending billions of dollars now globally on dietary supplements. That's why the title of today's show is Designed to Heal, because natural products are not designed to treat, cure, mitigate, ameliorate diseases or disease symptoms. Our job here at Bio Bootcamp is to keep healthy people healthy. And as we dive into today's show, I wanted to surprise you with this, okay? I really appreciate that you give me so much credit, but I have to give all the credit to my higher power, my parents, and my teachers. That's part of the Omega Man way. Like the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He only knows. We don't know. There's so little that we know. So this is my teacher's book, Fish, Omega-3, and Human Health. Now, I'm not going to ask everybody to go out and buy this on Amazon. It's $200. It's a used book. It's very, very technical. It's not for everybody to read. But there's something that you said in the intro that inspired me to read this little section. So if you don't mind, is that okay, Nolen?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay. It's always like to check with you, right? So it's a signed copy of the book from Professor William E. Lands to Stuart. I was very lucky that he was my teacher. He's the godfather of what we're talking about, the omega-6-3 balance. He wrote this book in 1985, Nolen. And then this is the updated version. So to your point, listen to what this says. Overall, omega-3 fatty acids can be recommended to a general healthy population to prevent development of conditions and also reduce the risk of increased autoimmune conditions. Are you catching this? The important aspect, as emphasized in Chapter 5, is to begin effective balancing of omega fatty acids early enough to prevent amplified actions before cellular changes and tissue damage occur in an irreversible way. So today's episode, you get this? Today's episode, this is the leading expert. He said, you got to do it before the amplified actions of inflammation destroy your tissues, and then the cells cannot heal themselves. We're going to show you how you can keep yourself healthy, which is harder than it's ever been before.
So you know what I really like about that is because inflammation is like the first stage to so many different ailments and diseases, right? And what he says is the amplified, right? So when inflammation is amplified, meaning that it goes on and on, those cells are reproducing themselves, making more of those damaged cells in your body, and they're not getting the nutrients. That amplified inflammation in your body is the cause root to so many different ailments and so many different things.
But what's
that? Go ahead.
No, please, no, finish.
No, and so what I really like about that is that it truly gives you a perspective of preventative health, right? Because so many times we talk about preventative health, but we don't really understand preventative health is literally preventing the the
amplified action.
Right, exactly. And that makes it almost crystal clear to say the longer you go without having healthy cells, the longer you have the opportunity for that inflammation to amplify in your body. And now that's the root cause of everything. So I'm curious on if we do create healthy cells, how does that, I know we're not saying it cures anything, but that does revert back at some point in time, though, correct?
Well, what he points out is once the tissue damage is done, the damage is done. That's why when you told me when we first met to roll out of bed and start doing push-ups every single morning, it stuck. Because again, that was prevention. That's primary prevention. So let's pull up the slides. We're going to dive into this. We've got a few things that I just thought the audience definitely needed to see today. Today's episode is called Designed to Heal, the cell membrane, the brain of the cell. So why the cell membrane matters. The cell membrane is where all of the omega fatty acids live. That's where all the fatty acids live, in the cell membrane. And every organ system and sensation begins at the cell membrane. Every organ, system, and sensation begins at the cell membrane. It's the brain of the cell, not the nucleus. The membrane, check this out, it's a liquid crystal semiconductor with gates and channels. Thank you, Bruce Lipton. He's the father of epigenetics. He wrote a book called The Biology of Belief, and he was at Stanford. And he discovered that the membrane was the brain of the cell, Nolen, not the nucleus. The membrane, that's where the omega fatty acids live. Right. Membranes rely on omega-3 fatty acids for flexibility and function, and without enough omega-3s, cells become rigid, communication breaks down. And what happens when communication breaks down? The secret killer, inflammation, cannot resolve itself. You know, I hear on the internet all the time, inflammation is bad, anti-inflammation is good. What I love about Bio Bootcamp is we refuse to say anything that ridiculous. And if we ever do, please call us out. Inflammation is life. Inflammation is life. But your body's ability to resolve the inflammation, that's what we're talking about, the ability to heal. So this slide here, 2004 Time Magazine said inflammation was the secret killer. 20 years later, National Geographic publishes an entire episode, The Science of Inflammation and Ways to Treat It. That's not what Nolen and I are here to talk about. We're going to talk about ways to test it and to keep yourself healthy, which has never been harder. And this is one. Yes, Nolen?
No, before you go further, I want you to explain something. When you say inflammation is life, explain that so people can understand it, because I think I understand what you're saying. In my opinion, I believe you're saying that there is going to be inflammation. We can't stop it, but we grow from it, right? Like what doesn't kill you make you strong, right? So breaking down the muscle from working out, makes the muscle stronger, but we have to have the anti-inflammation to make the muscles recoup and do everything. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Exactly. You can't have one without the other. It was a beautiful illustration. It's like the immune system. We want the immune system to be ready when a parasite, a virus, an invader comes in. We want it to jump all over it. That's a healthy immune response. That inflammatory response is life. If you cut your finger and you didn't have enough inflammation and you didn't clot your blood, that would be a problem.
Right.
However, you need your body to be able to then start to slow down the inflammatory cascade and then begin the process of what we call resolution of inflammation. And this is where the fatty acids are so important. Every time you turn on your phone and you see Instagram and you're hit with all these health influencers, they're just throwing all these anti-inflammatories at you. Have you noticed this, Nolen?
Yes.
All day long. So let's just kind of remind ourselves on a cellular level what's happening here. This is how being out of balance affects the cells in your body. If you're new to this show and this is your very first episode, I'm going to remind you of some of our foundation. Imagine my left fist is omega-6. We've all heard of omega-6. It's in seeds and seed oils and animal products. It's everywhere in our diet.
Right.
It's essential. Your body doesn't make it. It makes the largely pro-inflammatory signals. Now imagine my right fist is omega-3. That comes from green leafy vegetables, cold water oily fish. Ask yourself, how many sardines are you eating every day? Well, you need your omega-6 and your omega-3 in balance for a healthy inflammatory response. For a healthy cell membrane, you need them in balance. Most people are like this. They're so far out of balance. What does that mean? They have too many omega-6s, not enough omega-3s in their cell membrane. And look at the slide and the cell on the left side of the slide. Now imagine you're made of trillions and trillions of cells, and every one of your cell membranes is made of whichever fats are available. And you're not eating Pam and Spam and Ding Dongs and chicken nuggets and O's and Krispy Kremes. You're not eating garbage. You're working out, you're taking care of yourself, but you don't have enough omega-3. Your cell membranes, as a byproduct of that, have what? More omega-6. It also has more saturated fat. Now, saturated fat is thick. Just kind of imagine it. Saturated, it's like a broomstick. And omega-3 is like a slinky. It's really flexible. So if you don't have enough slinkies, you have too many broomsticks, that cell membrane is not breathing. I got that from you, Nolen, right? Your analogy of the cell being able to breathe was so beautiful. One of the many reasons I love being your co-host. You're able to break it down. I want people to visualize that. If your cell membranes are not breathing correctly, using your analogy, allowing nutrients in, look at the slide.
Right. You can't
and waste
the nutrients and the minerals, and it can't exhale the waste products.
I thought that was brilliant. And can you see this creating cellular constipation, or like you're like choking
Right.
on a cellular level? Now that's why, going back to my teacher's book, you want to balance this before tissue damage occurs in an irreversible way. What does irreversible mean? Irreversible. So let's go from out of balance into balance. Now, this is a provocative statement, but I don't care what you're doing for your health. You're fasting every day. You're working out every day. You got a far infrared sauna. You have a hyperbaric oxygen chamber at home. I know people that have all of those tools.
Oh, wow.
And then we test this.
The chamber at home?
I know people that have hyperbaric oxygen chambers at home, far infrared beds. They're fasting. They're doing yoga. They're doing qigong. And then I say, do you know your most important number?
Right.
They get confused. I say the ratio between omega-6 and omega-3 and your omega-3 index on a cellular level, on a fundamental cellular level, do you know that information? Actually, Nolen, a guy that I spoke to a couple of months ago, who's one of the founding members of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, A4M. You'd think he'd hear of everything. He was flabbergasted. He was like, this is a simple at-home blood spot test. And I never knew before I did all of this for years and years. So we want to get to the young ones. We want to get to the young people, because imagine this, Nolen. Look at the cell on the right. And this just dawned on me, preparing to be on your show. Imagine how you felt when you were 19 years old. Look at that cell membrane.
Oh, yeah.
You remember how you felt when you were 19 or 20?
Oh, God, I felt indestructible.
You?
It
I can only imagine you at 18 or 19, you could jump over buildings.
Right.
So what happens to us over time? So we just want to try to keep the cell with its normal function, soft, flexible membrane, allowing nutrients in and waste products out.
So here's the thing. Here at Bio Bootcamp, we're about the biomarkers, but we want to biohack according to the biomarkers, right? So this was all about biohacking. How do we tweak this and tweak that for longer life, longevity, to be physically fit longer? How do we do the preventative things? And there is a test that you can take, and we're going to talk to you about the test right now. All right. Hey, we're back. You definitely want to go to biobootcamplive.com and check out how to take the test. So, we were just talking about your cells are designed to heal. We gave you some great information from that standpoint thus far. Stuart, what else you got for us today?
Well, I've got one other slide I want to share with everybody, but I want to finish this thought here about prevention.
Okay.
Primary prevention. Because my wife, you're going to get to know her, Nolen, too. We crack up all the stuff that we see on social media all day long. Like somehow in the 1850s, when the life expectancy was 35, that we were healthier than we've ever been. I mean, there are records of people in antiquity and even before that had cancer and tuberculosis and all kinds of conditions.
Sure.
Do you see you had that aha moment right there?
Yep.
And that's why when I say to people that are health conscious, I ask them, are you interested in your health? Absolutely. And I say to them, well, have you taken the simple at-home blood spot test where it tells you whether or not what you're doing is working? They're like, what I'm doing is working. I said, yeah, you're on a paleo diet, and then there are people that are on a vegan diet. And how do you
Right.
know on a cellular level what you are doing is working? And it's very provocative because 99% of people in the United States that take this test fail to reach the biomarker.
Absolutely.
99%. That's why Nolen and I decided to join forces and get 250,000 people tested, because that's our contribution here at Bio Bootcamp. So I have one more slide, Nolen.
Wait, hold on.
Around
Before you say that, there's a couple of different things. One, I never thought about 1850, right? So when you look at life in expectancy back then, it was much, much shorter than it is now.
Because of child death, I understand.
Right. But it was like we were healthier back then. How could we have been healthier back then if the life expectancy was shorter, though?
Well, that's because they included all the deaths of childbirth.
Gotcha.
We lost a lot of, so there were people that lived longer.
Okay.
Back then than 35 or 40, whatever the life expectancy was. But the question is, were they infinitely healthier back then versus now? And I would argue that with life expectancy, actually, in many cases, not always like here in America, middle-aged men kind of went down a little bit. But like, look at Warren Buffett's sidekick, Charlie Munger.
Right.
That guy was 99 years old. He was planning his 100th birthday. Have you noticed how many celebrities are 90, 95, 96, 90? So we are living longer.
Right.
On Bio Bootcamp, we want you to be as healthy as possible. Let's compress morbidity and mortality. One of my teachers, go ahead.
Go ahead. One of your teachers.
One of my teachers used to say this, Stuart, you need to be very healthy to die quickly. I know it doesn't sound like a fun subject, but think about that. Would you rather be disabled for a long time or healthy enough to expire quickly?
Right. Right. So, and that's a whole different mind frame. You have to be very healthy to die quickly, meaning that you don't want a slow dying situation where you're suffering because you're sick. You just want that's the definition of natural causes. Like, he died in his sleep last night, right? You know what I mean? Like, just natural. He was 108 and he died in his sleep last night type of situation. But I just want to clarify, we do want to test 250,000 people, but those 250,000 people, we want to retest them in 4 months to show that we improved their health, right? That we've literally put them in a better situation, health-wise, because there's two tests. There's one test to see where you are.
Baseline.
There's a regimen, we have the baseline to see where you are. Then there's the regimen that we implement to show that this has worked for pretty much 97% of the people that's taken the test. And then in 4 months, prove to you that the regimen worked. And that's what we want to do 250. And I say that only because so many times people will take the first test, don't stay with it, and then don't take the second test, right? And so that's what we're looking at doing, is biohacking according to the biomarkers that you have. And I want to put proof in your hands that we are putting you in a better situation than you were before you met us. Now, I know you got one other slide, and so we're going to go over this really fast. Now, what we got here?
So this is the title of a book that a colleague of mine put together, and I just love the idea of it, The Omega Ratio Miracle. So I just borrowed his title. The ideal 3-to-1 is ideal is 3 parts omega-6 to 1 part omega-3. The ideal ratio is 3 parts omega-6 to 1 part omega-3 to 1-to-1. Is that clear? 3,
Yep.
2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Balance. omega-6 arachidonic acid to omega-3 eicosapentaenoic acid ratio. We're not going to use big fancy chemistry terms here all the time. We just want to be very clear. There are other people out there testing kind of all the omega-6s and all the omega-3s, and that's not an accurate measurement. The omega-6 AA, omega-3 EPA ratio, and the omega-3 index are two of the indices that you're going to get in your test results. In fact, we test 11 different fatty acids. You're going to get a 25-page report that's going to have a full explanation of everything going on with your lipids, and then all kinds of recommendations on what to do. The U.S. average is 25-1. Well, you want to be 3-1, 2-1, or 1-1. The omega-3 index, the average in America is 4%. You want that to be 8%. I put a ticking time bomb. 1.4 million blood tests prove that balance is possible and measurable transformation in 120 days. So thank you for clarifying. We're going to have 250,000 people take the first test, and then 250,000 people take the second test. So we're going to get 500,000 people tested. So do your part and get tested yourself. Find out if you're in the safe zone or the danger zone on a cellular level. Nolen?
Right. So here's what we're talking about. We're talking about 250,000 people taking two tests. The first one to get the base, and then those same 250,000 people to take the second test to show that we move the needle to the good, right? That we put you in a healthier situation. So if you go to biobootcamplive.com, you'll see how you could take the test. It's right there on the top of the website. And if you follow us on all social media platforms, which is B-I-O, like you see the logo right there, BIO Bootcamp Live on everything. Everything, even LinkedIn. You can get more information, more tips. And we're going to be out here Monday through Friday, just literally giving you the information you need for you to be healthy. As you can see, Bio Bootcamp is all about you. I want to thank Stuart Tomc for showing up like always, for giving us great information. I want you guys to realize that we're going to be putting out information every day. That's how dedicated we are to this. And Stuart literally has a bunch of doctors behind him. And we're going to start getting some of the doctors on the show, I believe, next week. And then we even have professional athletes that we're going to be talking to about that and what makes them as healthy as they are to do some of the miraculous things that we've watched them do on TV. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but we do have some things that's lining up. But I want you to understand, if you watch the bodybuilders and a bodybuilder comes out here and says, hey, this is how I get so strong, that's right. If you watch a basketball player and you see the basketball player jump from the free throw line and dunk with both hands, and he's like, hey, this is how I stay healthy, that's great. If you see a cancer survivor and they say, hey, my body was broken up, and I was in a situation to where my back was against the wall, and I found something that made me so much healthier and put me back together. That's great. What I'm trying to get you to understand is, what I don't want you to do is watch this, hear one person's testimonial and say, I'm not them, and say, that's not for me, because this is for everyone. I don't care if it's prenatal care to being elders or 90, 100 years old. We can show you whatever condition you're in, whatever level you want to get to, wherever you want to maintain this. Taking this test and understanding your biomarkers is the most important thing that you can do. I want to thank Stuart once again for coming out. Thank you, Stu. Man, you give us great information. Anything you want to say before you go?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what you were saying about this being actionable information. Think about all those genetic tests. Remember 23andMe? They just went bankrupt.
Right.
I remember when I was terrified to take that test because I didn't want them to have my information. Well, I want everybody to know here the information is completely blinded. You don't put any number or phone number on there. You just get a little digit. No ticket, no laundry, which means if you lose the card in the test kit, you can't get your test results back. But I also want to echo this. This is something you can do something about. Staying as healthy as you are right now, just trying to do everything you can to maintain right now is a noble and admirable goal. The literature is replete with omega-3 being used for all kinds of situations, and that's not what our job is here today. I encourage everyone, go to your ChatGPT, go to Grok, go to Perplexity, Pi, whatever program you use, and just type in, what is the significance of the omega-6 AA, omega-3 EPA balance and the omega-3 index? If you got a particular situation, do your own homework. And remember, here at Bio Bootcamp, we're here to empower you with the tools to keep you healthy.
And because we have doctors on the show, you can send this information to your doctor if you're afraid to put anything in your body without consulting the doctor. But I want you to understand, for all the people that take supplements, for all the people that take vitamins, we're already taking supplements and vitamins because we know that we live in a world where our food is not as nutrient dense as we want it to be. So you're not getting the nutrients. You have to supplement, but I've never seen another supplement that you take the test to see where you are and then take a test to see how well it worked. And that's what we have here at Bio Bootcamp. Take the test, biobootcamplive.com. Stuart, I thank you, sir. For the people that are watching right now, thank you for tuning in. And I want you to know that your cells are designed to heal. Until next time, love to live to love, and be well.